I said, where can I get more information? He said, go to the YCL. I said, what's that? He said, there's a Young Communist League. I said, where are they? And he gave me an address, and I went there, and there were kids about 10 years old, or 7 to about 19. And they were reading very deep books, all these kids. And they were talking sensibly. So I said, gee, it's very different than other kids. So after the meeting, I raised my hand and said, how are you going to prevent corruption under communism? They said, we're all good people. I said, I don't doubt that, but how will you prevent corruption? They said, well, when that time comes, we'll work on it. I said, how are you going to prevent people taking advantage of other people and living in bigger houses, you know? And how are you going to house the masses of people? Oh, when that time comes, we'll work on it. I said, let's start a technical branch of the Communist Party and work on these things. They said, you're a deviationist. I said, what's that? You're deviating from the teachings of Marx. I said, I'm trying to add things. You'll have to leave. So the vice president of the Young Communist League said, let's hear him out. And they kicked us both out because I was deviating from Marx. I'd say the guy was stupid. I was not trying to harm them. I was trying to add something. Anyway, they kicked us both out. And then I hitchhiked to California, and I met a guy that flew in World War I. Did I tell you about? He flew over German munition dump.
Oh yeah.
He was ordered not to bomb it, and he told me he was a member of technocracy, and they believe in using science in government. So I went to 2 of their meetings, and it was talked about using science. So I joined. Then after about the 3rd or 4th meeting, I said, how come there's no blacks here? He said, well, let them start their own section. Uh-oh. I said, why is that? Well, the black is different. We don't want to mix them. So I said, how come there's no Orientals? Oh, he said, the chief engineer's name was Howard Scott. He said, the Oriental mind can't grasp technology. I said, you talk about the first generation, but once they get into it, they'll be just the same as us. He said, no, they still bow and they still have their hands in the sleeves like the Chinese. The Oriental mind is different. So I resigned. The reason I resigned from technocracy is not because I didn't like what they talked about, but I didn't like that. I could not defend that. So people think I'm a technocrat. I have a lot of the similar values, but very different. I want to work on changing people. I don't believe that the Oriental mind is different or that blacks are different than anybody else. And the minute you discriminate, treat women a certain way, men a certain way, Greeks another way, when you've heard the Spanish-American club, the Italian-American club, that divides people. That all people love their kids. They don't want them to go to war, but they don't know what to do about it. So I would try to say, let's get away from women's studies, black studies, Polish studies, and we're all one kind. That's why you see at the end of that film, we live in one world, we're one people, we must share it. See, so if they didn't like that film, I would not go to that country. That film doesn't mistreat anyone. Am I getting to you now? Anything bother you? Anything you against? Okay, do whatever you can to promote this viewpoint and tell people to get the films and talk about it. If you don't talk about it, if you get the films and you don't show them to people, it's nothing. Roxanne and I have no power at all. We depend on you doing the best you can to make people aware. It's not like socialism, it's not like communism, it's not a dictatorship of technical people. Normal people come here saying, there'd be a lot of people in gray. You will work in Area D, you Area K. That's what your chart shows, that's where you go. That's not what I'm talking about. I would be afraid of such a world. See what I mean?
Yeah.
So people project their own values into the Venus Project. Fresco sitting on a throne, you know. I don't want anything. All I want is a lab to go to work. I don't want to control people. I want to share ideas with other people. Okay?
Yeah.
So when you leave here, I hope you have better tools than when you first came. So put them to work. Okay?
Okay.
And all the films we make are about what I talk about. So if you can't do it alone, get our films, okay? Show them to other people, along with your... You can do anything you want with our film. You can extract portions of it, put it in your film, you know what I mean? Do what you want, but try to get people not to follow somebody because he's an authority, to question everybody. Guy says, I'm an engineer. What do you do? I work on guided missiles. You know what I mean? And he doesn't understand that all nations are the same. They all want to protect what they have, and so they build armies, because other nations used to invade them. Now people do come to my sessions, and they do question me. They question me in anger. They say, why are these goddamn North Koreans building all these rockets? I see them on the newsreel, and soldiers marching, and the Chinese communists have rockets and soldiers marching. If they're so wonderful, why are they doing that? I'm going to show you why. There's a newspaper on that counter, I believe. Will you get it? I bought it at a bookstore, that piece of newspaper. Yes, and it's something you never saw. It's printed in England. Let me show you that. It says, U.S. plans first strike nuclear against 7 countries. That's released by the Pentagon. And if you run that headline, those countries are China, North Korea, what do you expect them to do? Do you understand what I'm saying? Photograph that. You got it? I didn't write that headline.
Well, I'm trying to get a date.
What do you want me to do? You want light on it?
No, I got it.
It's March 10th, 2002.
Oh, I got it.
So if China said, we're going to bomb U.S., England, and France, we would arm to the tooth and do a first strike. Now, in the old days, first strike meant sneak attack, because it's called a strategic strike.
Yeah.
When the Japanese did it, it was called sneak attack. When we do it, it's
Strategic strike.
strategic attack. So remember, your country is full of shit as every other country. They're all the same. So I don't uphold any group of people or any country. My loyalty is to the earth, its resources, and all the people on it. That's what I'd like to pledge allegiance to, and everyone else. The sooner we learn to pull away from those little groups that say you're a Jew, you're proud of it, you're Italian, you're proud of it, you're a Greek, you're proud of it, you're dividing people. They all need clean air, organic food, healthy food, and a healthy, constructive environment, and loving care. All children need the same thing. Okay? Anything there bother you?
No.
Okay.
Well, I mean...
As long as you photograph, I have to keep that here because people don't believe me.